.NET 6 Preview 2 is out. That also means .NET MAUI Preview 2 is out. In this video, we're going to see how to run our first .NET MAUI application. Exciting! So I'm going to assume if you landed here that you already know a little bit about what .NET MAUI is. .NET MAUI is going to be the next evolvement of Xamarin.Forms. It's going to be the first-class citizen of Xamarin.Forms, completely rewritten from the ground up, taken all the learnings over the years with Xamarin.Forms, 6 or 7 years. The things that were working great, we're going to take. The things that are not so great, we're going to skip that or make it better. And it's all going to move directly into .NET 6. So with .NET 6, you can have your one-stop shop for creating native applications with C#, XAML, later on MVU, write your UIs in C#, do all kinds of crazy things, have a single project. We will see that in a video. But together with that, a lot of people are asking, hey, should I learn Xamarin.Forms today or should I wait for .NET MAUI? Well, my best friend in the entire world, James Montemagno, has created a video for just that. It should pop up on your screen right now. So go check that out first, or maybe after this video, put it on your watch later list. But that is in a nutshell what .NET MAUI is. So now let's just dive into what it all is, see some repos, see some blog posts, and of course see some code and run our first .NET MAUI application. So last week, this blog post came out March 11th, and this is talking about .NET 6 Preview 2. And here it's somewhere mentioned that we are now back to regularly scheduled monthly previews until the release in November. So each month you will have a new preview. We're now in the second one, so we'll have a new one next month, which is really cool. So maybe I'll make another update then. But the important thing right here is that this will give you all the news about the new .NET 6 preview. Of course, there is a lot in here. You can see this scroll bar is pretty small, so there's a lot in here. But here is the most important part, because this is about .NET MAUI, because this is part of the .NET 6 first-class citizen. So, if you want to play with .NET MAUI, we have to play with .NET 6 Preview 2. So here you can see a couple of things. If you want to read all about this, the link is below in the video description, but of course I will be walking you through this as well. So let's scroll back up to the important bits. So you can download .NET 6 Preview 2 right now, installers and binaries. Let's just go there. This is something that you can do for every preview version. So if you're watching this, there might be a new preview version out there right now. So you can just download that and install it together with this one, because that's how .NET works now. We can just have those versions next to each other. So macOS installers x64, let's do that. It will start downloading, hopefully manually. Let's go. It's blocked. I still want to keep it, and there we go. So let's open the file and let's just install it. So I can do next, install, type my password here, and it should all install nicely. So that's all that's needed to install .NET 6 Preview 2 or .NET 6 or .NET 5, anything .NET 7 when it's coming out. It's just as simple as this now, just installing this. I skipped over some important parts, so you can see this is now installed. So SDK runtime and the ASP.NET Core runtime. And actually it's in here too, the SDK and the runtime. So you can download the runtime separately if you just want to. Whoops, I need to go back here. You can download the runtime here separately, so that is something that you want to watch out for, but that's only for running .NET 6 application. So, if you have a thing that is built for .NET 6 and you just want to try out that part, you can download one of the things here. But if you actually want to build applications, then you need to be over on this left side right here and download the thing. So for Windows, it's here too, of course. Just click the right link and you can just install it, just like I did just now. It's just next, finish, nothing fancy. So now before we dive right into the code, let's just back up for a little bit, because there is a little bit more that you need to install. If we scroll down to all the .NET MAUI bits, here we go. we have the sample repository. So let's click on that, and we're going to go to the repository that holds the sample that we're about to see. Now, if we scroll down here a little bit to the README, you will also notice that this requires a specific build of .NET 6. That's what I just installed. But also we need the Android, iOS, and Mac Catalyst workload. So be sure to also install these bits if you want to follow along for Windows and for Mac OS. So install these three things. It should be, again, next finish. Nothing going on here, nothing exciting. So just run through these. And well, with that, let's just jump into Visual Studio and see some code. And here we are in Visual Studio for Mac in a file new Xamarin.Forms. Oh, wait a minute. We're not in a file new Xamarin.Forms application. We're in a .NET MAUI application. That's amazing. All right, so, but the first thing that stands out, I've opened the sample that is, again, in the video description. I've took that from the blog post where it's linked to. There are a couple of, sample applications going on there for, actually, let's just look at the solution for Android, for iOS, because, .NET Android and .NET for iOS, that's how the Xamarin bits are going to be named now. You can still build iOS and Android native applications with .NET if that's what you want. Just use all those iOS things, Android native bits for the UI. That's still something that you can do. But we also have this MAUI app right here. And that is the one I'll be focusing on. So if we look into this one, you can also see the first steps in creating that single project has been made, because all of our Android, iOS, Mac Catalyst, they're all in one place. Before, this would be our shared project in Xamarin.Forms, and then we would have the iOS and Android project. But this is other applications. This is not our MAUI application. This is all there is to it. And we have some, here you can see we have the Android manifest right in here in this one project. For iOS, we have the plist. For Mac Catalyst, again, we have the plist, because those are the same concept for both Mac and iOS. Your resources, you only have to define them once. That is really cool. I don't know what's going on here with the ProGuard stuff. That's probably a little bug in the version of Visual Studio for Mac that I'm running. But all the rest, you just have this single project. All I need, I can just disable these, I can remove these, and my MAUI project will still run. So that is very cool. Now, I've opened the main page XAML right here, and you can see this is all the things that you are used to from Xamarin.Forms. So we have the scroll view, we have a stack layout, we have a label. To be honest, there isn't that much. It's still a work in progress. It's still a preview. So this is probably, all the controls that are implemented right now and all the properties that are implemented right now, because the team is going through all of these things again. You're picking it up, looking at, hey, how can we do this in our new architecture? How can we make it better? And then implement it in .NET MAUI. So that is really cool. Before we start look into running this thing, let's see what else is there to uncover in this project. So as I mentioned, single project. So our Android stuff, our iOS stuff is in here. Mac Catalyst, so that already gives you away a little bit that for Mac, we're not going to have a special Mac OS backend like there is now, and we need to do all that work for Mac OS again. But you will just use Mac Catalyst, and Mac Catalyst is the name for running your iOS application on a Mac. There is no need for any work on your part. Well, maybe some little tweaks, but you can basically just say, hey, I want to switch to Mac Catalyst. I have a video on that by the plugin of Frank Kruger, but this is going to be built into .NET 6, and you can just say, hey, I want to run my iOS application and I want it now to run on a Mac, and Apple does a lot of magic to actually, make it look pretty and run it on a Mac, so that is pretty cool. And here we have the application and the main window. I think one of the points of .NET MAUI is that it's also going to support multi-window, because Xamarin.Forms basically only supported that single window thing. So let's look at this one. We have a window concept, which is a I window. And I think a lot's going to happen with the interfaces, because the way .NET MAUI now works is with handlers and not so much renderers. So I think iWindow is one of those concepts, and also the iPage and the iMaui context. I don't know what an iMaui context is, so let's dive into that one. I probably provide you with a couple of things for the application, like the service provider. So this is probably the thing that will replace the dependency service. because they're just going to use in the iService provider to build in dependency injection stuff from the .NET framework, which is really cool. The MAUI handler service provider and some kind of context. So I need to dive deeper into what this is exactly. And here we're going to say, hey, we're going to get a service. Okay, so the pages are also registered as a service. And it's going to set the main window. It's going to set the page for this to this main page thing. So that's the thing that I just showed you, basically, this main page. Okay, so that's the main window. Okay, got it. And then we have the application. And here is something really cool that's going to happen. I think a lot of people will be happy with this because here we have the iApp host builder, which you probably know from like your ASP.NET Core or your ASP.NET application. And here we have this fluent syntax to create builder, register compatibility render. So that's interesting. I think that this is the line that you need to, make the stuff work for Xamarin.Forms. So this will be the compatibility layer for your Xamarin.Forms stuff. You need this if you're going to convert your renderers and that kind of stuff from Xamarin.Forms to .NET MAUI. So hopefully by just pasting in that line, you can just convert your Xamarin.Forms application real easily. And from there, you can see configure services. So here we have that main page, the I window, and you can just do services. Let's see, services.add. Here we go, scoped, singleton, transient. So if you know already a little bit about dependency injection, here is where you can add all your dependencies. It's built in, and that's going to be super cool. Configure fonts. So that's also something that we probably need for your custom fonts. We already had that little solution to use those custom fonts very easily. It wasn't perfect for all the platforms. So hopefully with this, it's even easier to use. Just add that line, add fonts. This is my file name. This is the name that I want to, use it in my code with. And you can just use it in your XAML, no questions asked. So that's really cool. Create window, you can do some stuff. Of course, we need some forms init line. Again, this is for the compatibility, so you probably need some initialization here because simply that's needed still in the forms bits. So okay, you need these two renders to make your forms application work. But again, I can't emphasize enough, this is all in preview, so things might change. And it's going to return the services that we've built. So that is really cool, and that's all there is to it. Now, if I want to run, that's going to be a problem because, well, I have fiddled a little bit with the project right here to see if I could get it running, but it's noted in the documentation that you cannot run it from Visual Studio at this time. So we are going to open up a terminal basically here in the solution, and let's go to new terminal at directory, and let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you. Now the thing that we want to do, let's see, we're in the root folder here, so we have the hello Android, hello MAUI, hello all the things, and the thing that we want to do is say .NET build probably. So that's a really cool thing, right? We can just say .NET build now because we have all this command line tooling because it's suddenly in the .NET 6 framework thing. So we can use all this console windows and interesting looking stuff here. And this is going to build for a little while.
One eternity later.
Build our solution, so we have all the things. And what I can say now, so this is going to be interesting. I'm going to say .NET build. So it's not .NET run. Hopefully that's something that they will pull off as well, that you can say just .NET run and it will run all the things. Hello MAUI, here we go. And I need to specify a target run, here we go. So this is -t is specifying a target. Here we are going to look into the build process, the build chain more. Just trust me, this works. And we also need to specify like -f, so the minus the target framework is going to be .NET, well, not .NET, NET 6.0 dash, and let's just make iOS because we're on a Mac, so that's always the easiest thing. So if you do this, I'll just press enter right now. You can see what happens. It will say, hey, the target run does not exist in the project, which is a known bug. And to overcome that, I'm just going to do this again, and I'm going to say no restore dash no restore, and then it suddenly works for some reason. So it's a bug. They're working on it. It's going to run. It's going to build the iOS project again. All the things that are needed. Well, actually, it's going to build that single project, right? Because that's what we've just seen. It's going to build that single project, but it's going to take all the bits for iOS and it's going to run that. And you can see this fancy iPad Pro coming up, which is not my choice necessarily normally. But since we cannot really select a emulator, it's probably just going to take the first one that it's going to see and run it on that simulator. So, and here we are. We are running a .NET MAUI application. This is so cool. And again, this is just, the basics that are here. Welcome to .NET MAUI, a couple of hearts, which is, because we love it. Click me. So let's see. The click handler is already implemented as well. We have this entry, a slider, a switch, and an image already. So nothing too exciting, but if you want to start trying what .NET MAUI feels like, what it looks like, already play with the first bit, see what's implemented or not, then this is how you can do it. Now, the real cool thing, like I said, I don't know what happens. Should I just close this? That just probably stops. Here we go. And we can also say, okay, we don't want to do iOS. We want to do Mac Catalyst, like I said. Here we go. And we are getting this same application, no changes. You can just see me only changing this command in the command line, and it will start running, hopefully, the Mac Catalyst app. So here we have the same thing, but now as a Mac OS application. You can see all the exact same things, the click handler working, the entry, I can just type here my famous line, did you already subscribe to my channel? Thank you. 100%, and here's the thing to subscribe. So this is really cool, right? I just changed this one thing. Let's see, to make the whole sample complete, what happens whenever I say remove this Mac Catalyst, and whenever I say Android, here we go. It's probably going to come up with some weird emulator too. I don't know if it's going to pick the right one and if it's going to be supported. Oh, here we go. It doesn't actually even work. No available devices. So this is not going to work. Maybe I should already start up an emulator and it will find that. Maybe you should already be running one. If you do know how to get it work, let me know in the comments and teach me something. But this is how you can get started with .NET MAUI today. In fact, I also went out to the .NET MAUI repository, and you can start contributing to that as well. So let's quickly dive into that as a last part of this video. This is where the magic is happening. This is github.com/.net/MAUI. So this is really cool. What they did is, I think, is just take all the Xamarin.Forms bits and put that in a completely new structure and rip out all the things and start over basically. Because there are already a lot of contributors and I am one of them. So that's really cool, but I guess that means there is some Xamarin.Forms code in here. But I'm already thankful to be a contributor of .NET MAUI, and you can be too. So there is a number of issues already open. I'm not sure how to engage this exactly because I've been out of it for a little bit, but this makes me very excited to get in there and start contributing again too. So all the code lives in this SRC folder, so the source folder. And there are some instructions here in the README, so how to get this thing running. I already actually cloned it, the repository, and the structure I think is much more clearer than when it was with Xamarin.Forms. Again, run it through the command line. And so it seems that if you have Visual Studio 16.9, you can just run it from there. So maybe I should check it out on Windows and see what that is all about. So all the news, all the goals, and here you have a little comparison with Xamarin.Forms, .NET MAUI. So if you want to know the latest stuff about .NET MAUI, then this is where you want to be. Go check it out. But if we go back to, like the contributing part, go check out the issues. I think I already noticed here, like port these little things to handler, which means port this feature from Xamarin.Forms into the new handler architecture. But this is probably it's going at a high speed with all the team that's working on it. So if you want to jump on this and contribute as well, you probably want to really check that it's not something that is already in progress or something that the team wants to pick up. So make sure that you are open in your communication. But I know that contributions will definitely be appreciated, so go check that out. So hopefully this will give you a little overview of how to look into the bits that is .NET MAUI right now. I'm not saying getting started with .NET MAUI because, to be honest, I think there is only the very basic controls with the conflict properties, because the team is working on this like crazy. I know, I've seen them going, and I'm very excited to see Preview 3 coming out. But if you already want to look into this, maybe look into contributing, because it's now early days, so there's not a lot of code. You could just have a good overview of that code base, dive in there and contribute some code, and you can say, I am a contributor to .NET MAUI. I know my good friend Almir already did that, so follow his footsteps, do it. But we've looked at how to run a .NET MAUI application. We've seen a couple of the new concepts in there, which is really cool. That got me really exciting. What is the most exciting feature that you are wanting to see or know is coming in .NET MAUI that you cannot wait for to show up in a preview? Let me know in the comments, and of course, like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, because .NET MAUI is exciting. So I can imagine a lot of new people watching this. And of course, as always, I see you for my next video. Keep coding.